Look, we've literally all been there. You wake up, grab your coffee, and go trade your precious, irreplaceable hours for little pieces of paper. Month after month, you follow the rules, right? But it just feels like you're running on this endless treadmill. And you know what? It feels like a trap, because frankly, it kind of is. You're playing out a story written by somebody else, in a game where nobody ever bothered to explain the real rules to you.
So why keep running in place? Well, what if I told you we could rewrite that story right now? In today's explainer, we are waking up from that illusion. We're going to decode the 10 hidden concepts that actually act as the keys to getting off that treadmill. These aren't just dry financial rules. They are the actual tools you need to take back your freedom and build your own empire, while the rest of the world just stays asleep at the wheel.
Okay, let's start by completely flipping a concept we all absolutely love to hate: taxes. Most people see taxes as just a pure punishment, this invisible hand reaching in to grab a slice of your hard-earned pie. But we've got to reframe this if we want to win. Think of taxes as the toll booths of civilization. They fund the roads, the infrastructure, the very society that actually allows you to build wealth in the first place. The wealthy get this. They don't illegally evade taxes, they outsmart them. They treat the tax code like a massive rulebook for a game they fully intend to win, not a prison sentence.
Which brings us to the actual places where that money lives. The banks. Your average mindset thinks of a bank as a big, safe, giant steel vault. You deposit your cash and you literally imagine it just sitting there guarded by a dragon or something. But the wealthy mindset? Oh, they know banks are really just financial matchmakers. Through something called fractional reserve banking, a bank takes your deposit, keeps a tiny, tiny fraction on hand, and lends the rest out at a much higher interest rate. They're literally using your money to build their empire. So it's time to stop being the supply of money and start being the demand. Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, saying, "He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." Think of interest as the rent that money charges just to exist in someone else's hands. When you borrow, you're paying that rent. And man, if you miss a payment, that simple interest flips into compound interest fast. Suddenly, that $12 burrito you put on a credit card becomes a $50 regret. It's like a financial fire that just burns down your future. But if we flip the script, investing turns interest into a literal cheat code. Let's say you start with just $100. When you earn compound interest, it becomes your ultimate weapon. It is this silent, relentless engine of wealth that takes that initial little seed and duplicates it. You're no longer just trading your time for money. No, your money has basically put on a little hard hat and is out there working for you around the clock. It's incredible to watch how that $100 duplicates. It becomes $200, then $400, and it just keeps multiplying over time. By giving your money the time it needs to literally clone itself, these small, boring gains turn into massive, heroic wins. This is exactly why interest is the silent engine behind both extreme wealth and crushing debt. The golden rule for your empire is so simple. If you're paying interest, kill it immediately. But if you're earning it, let it run wild. But listen, while your empire is growing, there's a serious enemy lurking in the shadows. Inflation. It is the silent thief. It doesn't kick your door down in the middle of the night. Instead, it just quietly, slowly shrinks your future. It happens whenever too much money starts chasing too few goods. You absolutely cannot just sit on a pile of cash and let this thief melt your life's work away. You have to actively outsmart it by investing in assets that outpace the drain. Now, when that inflation thief strikes hard, economies often cool off, triggering recessions. Most folks operate out of pure fear during these times. They view a recession as the end of the world. Jobs vanish, markets bleed. But the wealthy? They see a massive opportunity. To them, a recession is just a forest fire. Yeah, it's painful, but it burns away the dead wood and acts as a crucial economic reset. But wealthy do not panic. They bravely step in and scoop up incredible assets for pennies on the dollar while everyone else is totally paralyzed. They're planting seeds in the winter so they can harvest in the spring. All right, let's talk about the golden key to leverage: your credit score. Here's the big secret most people completely miss. It's not actually a measure of your wealth. You could have zero debt and a totally terrible score. Your credit score is really a digital reputation. It's the key that decides whether you unlock low-interest leverage to buy those assets, or if you get slapped with soul-crushing interest rates that keep you trapped on the treadmill. Understanding the shadowy algorithm behind this reputation is honestly like solving a giant puzzle. Sure, the game was originally rigged to benefit the lenders, but when you learn how the pieces actually fit together, how your utilization and payment history directly influence the outcome, you empower yourself. You transform from a pawn into a player who can rig the game right back in your favor.
Okay, let's dive into a realization that genuinely bends the mind a little bit. Money actually isn't real. It's a shared hallucination. A piece of paper or a digital token only has value because we, as a society, collectively agree that it does. At its core, currency is just a leaky battery used to store your energy and your time. And because of that silent thief, inflation, if you just hoard this battery, its energy is inevitably going to leak right out. So, hoarding currency is a notoriously poor habit because you're willingly letting inflation drain your hard-earned energy. The wealthy have it, it's an entirely different paradigm. They don't worship the paper. Instead, they consistently convert that leaky currency into real assets. They're buying businesses, real estate, and equities. They make that heroic transition from trading their time for money to trading their money for more money, turning a shared illusion into a concrete reality. And this is exactly how you build your asset arsenal. You arm yourself with stocks, bonds, diversified funds, and real estate. You use these specific vehicles as your sword and shield against the inflation thief. Look, people constantly stress about the risk of market volatility, right? But the true danger, the real tragedy, is never entering the arena at all and just letting inflation quietly steal your entire future.
Mastery of the universe, value, and time. Let's get into the heavy hitters.
Stop chasing money. Seriously, chase value. Money is simply society's certificate of appreciation for the value you provide to it. A plain rock is worthless until it's rare and shiny, like gold, right? Steve Jobs didn't become a billionaire by just chasing billions. He solved massive problems and fundamentally changed human behavior. He created immense value, and the wealth just chased him. If you want to make millions, you've got to figure out how to positively impact millions. And that brings us to the true climax of our journey today. Time. Time is the great multiplier and the single most valuable asset on Earth. You can literally always figure out a way to make more money, but you can never, ever make more time. Trading 1 hour of your irreplaceable life for $1 is a total dead-end equation. The people who build lasting empires figure out how to detach their time from their income entirely. They build systems, they use leverage, and they let their assets fight for them 24/7. Just imagine your efforts compounding over the decades. You start off with consistent investment. Then, in the middle, that compound growth takes over and starts doing the heavy lifting for you. And by the end, you arrive at a life of total financial freedom. Ordinary people with modest paychecks reclaim their lives and retire as millionaires all the time. They didn't magically beat the system. They simply let time and the mechanics of wealth work for them. True empires are not built in days, guys. They are built in decades. So these 10 concepts, taxes, banks, interest, inflation, recessions, credit, currency, investing, value, and time, they are the hidden code to the financial matrix. They are the levers of power that literally dictate who stays struggling and who builds a legacy. For the first time, you aren't just a player stumbling through a pre-written game. You can actually see the code. You now have the power to pull these levers yourself. Which leaves us with one final incredibly provocative question. Will you stay on the treadmill, or will you build your empire? The knowledge is right here in your hands now. You can go back to trading your precious hours for leaking paper, or you can step off, take absolute control of your financial destiny, and start writing your own epic story. The choice is entirely yours. I really hope this explainer has sparked a serious fire in you to step out of the matrix and take action. Keep learning, keep building, and I will catch you next time.